"Get on my horse, Apache girl," said the cowboy who refused to let her die alone. Cole Ryland rode under a wide sky that looked too big for one person to carry alone. The frontier planet called Red Mesa had two suns, and both of them were sinking behind the jagged hills. The light turned the sand copper and the rocks dark purple. Above, slow cargo ships drifted like silent whales, their lights blinking as they crossed toward the spaceport towns far away. Cole kept his eyes on the ground more than the sky. The ground told the truth. Wind could hide things, but not forever. Tracks, broken brush, and dust patterns always spoke if a man knew how to listen. Cole did. He was a cowboy by habit and a scout by training. Years ago, he had worked for a frontier patrol, guiding convoys and finding lost people in storms. But after one bad job, he stopped wearing their badge. He didn't talk about that job. People in the frontier learned not to push too hard. Everyone had a reason for being alone. His horse was not fully natural. It was a sturdy bioengineered breed built for thin air and long rides. Its coat was the color of ash, and a small power pack rested under its saddle to help with endurance. Cole called the horse Dust. Dust never complained, never spooked at the sound of far engines, and never asked questions. Cole had been riding toward a small trading post when he noticed something strange near a canyon mouth. The wind had shifted, and it carried a smell that did not belong in the desert, burned polymer and hot metal. He slowed Dust and angled toward the rocks. At first he saw nothing, just stones, dry plants, and shadow. Then he saw a broken hover sled half buried in sand. Its side panel was scorched and its stabilizers were snapped. Nearby, a water container lay open, empty, and cracked. Cole dismounted and crouched, running his fingers over the sand. Bike tracks, not old, maybe 2 hours, maybe less. They circled the sled, then went toward the canyon. Cole's jaw tightened. Raiders were common on Red Mesa, but they usually struck easy targets and left fast. This looked like they had taken time. Cole stood and scanned the area again. That was when he saw her. She was pressed against the base of a boulder, half in shadow, half in the fading light. At first, she looked like a bundle of cloth. Then she shifted, and a face turned toward him. Young, dust-streaked, eyes sharp as flint even through exhaustion, Cole moved slowly. He kept his hands visible, palms open. "Hey," he said, voice low, "I'm not here to hurt you." The girl tried to rise. Her knees wobbled, and she sat back down. She held a short knife, not shaking, but not steady either. Her breathing sounded rough, like she had swallowed sand. Cole stopped a few steps away. "You're hurt." Her gaze flicked to Dust, then back to Cole. She didn't answer. Cole glanced around again. No movement, no engines, just the wind and the distant hum of the planet. He crouched, careful not to crowd her. "What's your name?" A long pause. Then, in a voice that was thin but firm, she said, "Tala." Cole nodded. "Cole." Tala's eyes narrowed at his accent. Frontier, not corporate. That made her relax a fraction, but only a fraction. Cole pointed at the hover sled. "That yours?" Tala's jaw tightened. "It was. They burned it." "Who?" She swallowed, then forced the words out. "Men on bikes, black helmets, no flag. They took our packs and our food. They—" Her voice cut off, and she looked away as if finishing the sentence would make it real again. Cole didn't press. He had seen enough fear to know when to stop. He shifted his weight and studied her posture. Her left arm was held close to her body. Blood had dried along her sleeve. A bad cut, maybe deeper than it looked. The wind picked up, carrying grit that stung the eyes. Night in the desert could turn cold fast on Red Mesa. Cole knew that if she stayed out here, she might not see morning. He stood and stepped back toward Dust. He pulled a small med kit from his saddle bag. Then he came back, holding it out. Tala's knife lifted slightly. "It's medicine," Cole said. "Bandage, water, tabs, nothing else." Tala didn't reach for it. She stared at the kit like it might bite her. Cole set it on the sand between them and stepped back again. "Your choice." Tala watched him for a long moment. Then she leaned forward, grabbed the kit, and pulled it close. Her fingers were quick, practiced. She opened it, found the water tab, and dropped it into her mouth. She chewed and swallowed, eyes never leaving Cole. Cole took that as a good sign. He glanced toward the canyon mouth. "If those raiders come back, this spot isn't safe." Tala's shoulders tensed. "I can move." Cole shook his head. "Not far, and you shouldn't have to." Tala's eyes flashed. "Shouldn't has never saved anyone." Cole didn't argue. He simply looked at her arm. "Let me wrap that." "I can do it." "You can," Cole said, "but it'll be cleaner if I do." Tala hesitated, then held out her arm stiffly, like she was handing him a dangerous animal. Cole worked quickly, cleaning the cut with a gentle spray and pressing a seal band over it. Tala clenched her teeth but didn't make a sound. That impressed Cole more than he wanted to admit. When he finished, he stepped back again. Tala breathed out slowly. "Why are you helping?" Cole looked toward the horizon. A thin line of lights marked a distant settlement, too far for her to walk. "Because leaving someone to die alone isn't the kind of man I want to be." Tala studied him like she was weighing truth. "Men say things." "Then watch what I do," Cole said. He nodded toward dust. "Get on my horse, we're leaving." Tala's eyes widened. "That's your horse." "It is." "I don't." She tried to stand again, and her legs failed her. She grabbed the rock to steady herself, but her strength was running out. Cole stepped in and offered his arm, not touching her without permission. "You can ride behind me. I'll take you to my place. It's not fancy, but it's safe." Tala's gaze flicked to the canyon again. Fear showed for a heartbeat, then vanished behind stubborn pride. She looked at Cole. "If you're lying—" "I'm not," Cole said simply. Tala exhaled like she was letting go of something heavy. Then she nodded once. Cole helped her to Dust's side. The horse stood calm, ears forward, as if it understood the seriousness of the moment. Tala reached for the saddle horn, grimaced, and climbed up. She settled behind Cole, her hands hovering uncertainly. Cole swung up in front of her. "Hold the strap," he said, pointing to a leather loop attached to the saddle. "Or hold my jacket, either way." Tala chose the strap. That small choice told Cole she wanted distance, even in survival. He respected it. He clicked his tongue and Dust started forward. They rode away from the canyon as the last light faded. The first stars appeared, bright, hard points in the sky. In the distance, a patrol drone buzzed along a trade route, its blue searchlight sweeping the sand. Cole guided Dust around it, keeping to low ground. For a while, neither of them spoke. Tala's breathing steadied, but she remained tense, scanning the darkness. Cole could feel her alertness like a wire pulled tight. After a mile, Tala spoke again. "Where are you taking me?" "My ranch," Cole said. "Old outpost, just me and a few solar panels." "You live alone?" she asked. "Mostly," Cole answered. "Sometimes travelers stop by, not often." Tala's voice grew quieter. "My people don't like being alone." Cole didn't respond right away. He didn't know what her people liked. He only knew she had been out here with no one. The wind grew colder. Tala shivered behind him. Cole reached into his saddle bag and pulled out a spare blanket without turning fully. He handed it back carefully. Tala took it and wrapped it around her shoulders. The fabric covered her like armor. They rode through a narrow pass where rock walls rose on both sides. Cole watched for movement, for the glow of bike engines. Nothing, but he didn't relax. At the end of the pass, lights appeared ahead, small, warm points near the base of a cliff. Cole's ranch was built into natural stone, half hidden, a place meant to be overlooked. A low fence circled a corral. A windmill turned slowly beside a water tank. Solar panels angled toward the sky like black mirrors. As they approached, Tala's posture changed. She leaned forward, studying the layout, not fear now, but assessment. She was checking exits, cover, and angles. She had learned to survive by reading places the way Cole read tracks. Cole dismounted and tied Dust to a post. He turned to help Tala down. She hesitated, then accepted his hand briefly, her fingers light and quick. Her boots hit the ground and she swayed. Cole opened the ranch door. Warm air spilled out. Inside, the room was simple: a small stove, a table, a cot, shelves of tools, and a rack holding an old rifle and a newer plasma pistol locked in a safe bracket. Tala's eyes went to the weapons immediately. Cole noticed and said, "They stay there unless I need them." Tala didn't answer, but she nodded slightly. Cole guided her to a chair. He poured water from a filtered jug into a metal cup and set it in front of her. "Drink slow," he said. "You've been dry too long." Tala lifted the cup with both hands and drank in careful sips. Her shoulders lowered a little, just a little, as warmth reached her. Cole watched her quietly. She looked around again, taking in everything, not like a guest. Like someone who had learned every place could become a trap. After a few minutes, Cole said, "You can rest here tonight. In the morning, we'll figure out what comes next." Tala set the cup down. "They took supplies meant for my people." Cole leaned against the table, listening. "Tell me." Tala looked up, and now her eyes held something stronger than fear, determination. "We were moving between camps. The land routes are old. Our elders know them. The raiders attacked at a narrow crossing. They knew we would be there." Cole's brow furrowed. "That doesn't sound random." "It wasn't," Tala said. "Someone wants us pushed away from our land." Cole didn't like the sound of that. On Red Mesa, land meant water, shelter, and survival. Pushing a community away was the same as trying to erase them. Tala's voice dropped lower. And they left me. Cole's hands tightened for a moment, then relaxed. Not anymore. Tala stared at him, searching his face. Why do you care? Cole met her gaze. Because I've seen what happens when good people look away. I won't do it again. Tala didn't know what again meant, but she heard the weight behind it. She nodded once, slowly. Then maybe you are the kind of writer my elders speak about. Cole gave a small, tired smile. I'm just a man with a horse. Tala's expression didn't change. Sometimes that's enough. Outside, the wind whistled across the rocks. In the distance, an engine note faintly echoed across the desert, far away but real. Cole's eyes shifted toward the door. He didn't say it out loud, but he felt it in his bones. Trouble was moving on the frontier, and Tala had brought it to his doorstep. And for the first time in a long time, Cole didn't turn away from it. The night passed slowly at Cole's ranch. Outside, the wind moved across the rocks like a restless spirit, carrying sand that tapped softly against the walls. Inside, the small fire stove gave warmth, and the soft hum of solar batteries filled the quiet space. Tala slept lightly on the cot, one hand resting near the knife she refused to put far away. Even in sleep, her body remained alert, as if danger could arrive at any moment. Cole did not sleep much. He sat near the window, cleaning a small tool kit while watching the darkness beyond the ranch fence. Years of writing alone had taught him patience, but something about Tala's story stayed in his mind. Raiders rarely planned attacks carefully unless someone powerful guided them. That meant bigger trouble than a simple robbery. Before sunrise, Cole stepped outside. The sky held faint silver light and the air felt cold enough to bite. Dust lifted its head as Cole approached, ears flicking forward. Cole checked the fence line and studied the sand for new tracks. Nothing close. But far beyond the ridge, he noticed faint lines where bikes had passed during the night. They were not heading toward the ranch, but they were searching nearby territory. Cole returned inside just as Tala woke. She sat up quickly, eyes moving across the room, measuring distance and exits. When she saw Cole by the stove preparing food packs, her shoulders lowered slightly. "You watch all night?" she asked. "Habit," Cole replied. Tala stood slowly, testing her injured arm. The bandage held well. She walked to the small window and looked outside. "This place, it hides well." "That's the idea," Cole said. Tala nodded thoughtfully. "You live like someone who expects trouble." Cole handed her a warm cup of tea. "Out here, everyone should." They ate a simple breakfast of dried meat and grain cakes. Tala watched how Cole moved, how he checked gear and packed supplies with quiet efficiency. He noticed her observing but didn't comment. After a while, Tala spoke. "The raiders knew our path. That means someone tracked us or sold information." Cole leaned against the table. "You think it's connected to mining companies?" She nodded. "Machines have come closer every year. They say they bring progress. But they do not ask before taking." Cole had seen that before. Big corporations arriving with promises, then leaving damaged land and broken communities. He didn't say it aloud, but he understood. "We should look at the attack site again," Tala said. "There may be signs we missed." Cole considered for a moment, then agreed. "We go fast, stay careful." They prepared to ride. Tala insisted on helping despite her injury. She moved with quiet strength, adjusting saddle straps and checking supplies with practiced hands. When they mounted Dust together, she held the strap more confidently this time. The ride back to the canyon took less time under the morning sun. The desert stretched wide and silent, broken only by distant rock formations and old communication towers left behind by early settlers. When they reached the hoversled remains, Tala slid down quickly and began studying the ground. She crouched low, tracing marks with her fingers. "These tracks," she said, pointing. "Not only raiders, see this pattern, heavy vehicle, not common in small gangs." Cole knelt beside her. He saw it now, deep grooves where something larger had waited at a distance. A transport truck, maybe military grade. "That means planning," Cole said quietly. Tala's eyes darkened. "They wanted our supplies, but maybe also wanted to send a message." As they searched further, Tala found a small metallic object half buried in sand. She brushed it clean and held it up. A broken badge, corporate symbols scratched across it. Cole exhaled slowly. "That answers some questions." Tala closed her hand around the badge. "If this company pushes us away, our elders lose the sacred roots. Our stories are tied to this land." Cole looked at her carefully. He saw more than anger in her face. He saw responsibility. "We need information," he said, And allies, Tala looked uncertain. Your people will help mine, Cole gave a small smile. Frontier folk aren't always good at agreeing, but they hate bullies more than anything. They rode toward a nearby settlement called Broken Wheel, a small cluster of buildings built around an old repair station. Traders, ranchers, and travelers gathered there, sharing news and supplies. As they approached, Tala grew tense. She pulled the blanket hood lower over her head. Some towns do not welcome my people, Cole nodded. Stay close, let me talk first. The settlement buzzed with morning activity. Mechanics worked on hover bikes, children ran between stalls, and a few armed guards watched from rooftops. When Cole rode in, several people nodded in recognition. He wasn't famous, but he was known. A tall woman named Mara, who ran the repair station, approached. Cole, you look like trouble found you again. Maybe, Cole said. Need information. Mara glanced at Tala but didn't question her presence. She trusted Cole's judgment. What kind? Raiders with corporate backing, Cole said quietly. Mara's smile vanished. That's bad news. They moved inside the workshop where the noise of machines covered their conversation. Tala explained what happened to her caravan. As she spoke, her voice stayed calm but firm. Mara listened carefully. We've heard rumors, Mara said after a moment. Mining company expanding, people disappearing from outer routes. No one wants to say it out loud. Cole exchanged a look with Tala. The problem was bigger than one attack. Mara tapped a map displayed on a hollow table. Their main camp sits near Black Canyon. Heavy defenses, you'll need more than 2 riders. Cole nodded. That's why we're here. Word spread quickly through Broken Wheel. A few ranchers gathered, along with a former security pilot and 2 traders who had lost shipments recently. Not everyone trusted Tala at first, but when she described the sacred routes and the danger to all travelers, some began to understand. One older rancher spoke up. If they push one group out today, they push all of us tomorrow. Agreement spread through the room. For the first time since Cole found her, Tala allowed a small smile. She saw possibility where before there had only been loss. Later, as plans began forming, Cole stepped outside to check dust. Tala followed. You trust them? She asked. Not fully, Cole admitted, but enough to start. Tala looked toward the horizon. In my tribe, trust is earned through action. Cole nodded. Same out here. They stood quietly for a moment, watching the wind move across the sand. Tala finally spoke again. When you told me to get on your horse, I thought you were just another man trying to play hero. Cole laughed softly. I'm not much of a hero. Tala tilted her head. Maybe not. But you stayed. Cole didn't answer. Instead, he looked toward the distant canyon where the raiders had attacked. Trouble waited there, growing stronger every hour. Inside the workshop, voices rose as people argued about strategy. Some wanted to attack immediately. Others wanted proof before risking a fight. Tala stepped forward and spoke with calm authority, suggesting they gather evidence first and learn the enemy's patterns. Her words changed the tone of the room. Even those who doubted her began listening. Cole watched quietly, realizing she was more than a survivor. She was a leader learning to step forward. By afternoon, a small alliance had formed. Scouts would gather information and supplies would be prepared. The goal was not revenge but protection. As the sun lowered again, Cole and Tala prepared to ride toward a ridge overlooking Black Canyon. They needed to see the enemy camp with their own eyes. Dust carried them across open land, the sky glowing orange above. Tala's posture had changed since yesterday. She no longer looked like someone escaping danger. She looked like someone riding toward it with purpose. As they reached the ridge and looked down, both fell silent. Below them lay a massive fortified camp, filled with machines, guards, and drones moving in perfect patterns. Far larger than anything a simple raider group could build, Tala's voice was steady but filled with quiet anger. They are not just stealing supplies, they are preparing to take everything. Cole nodded slowly, his mind already planning the next move. The fight ahead would not be easy, but this time neither of them would face it alone. The wind blew hard across the ridge as Cole and Tala watched the fortified camp below. Dust shifted its weight behind them, sensing the tension in its riders. The camp spread across the canyon floor like a metal city. Tall towers stood at each corner, blinking with red lights. Patrol drones moved in slow circles above, and rows of armored vehicles rested near storage units. Tala studied everything carefully. Her eyes followed the movement of guards, the paths of vehicles, and the shadows between buildings. She was not only looking, she was learning. They are organized like an army, she said quietly. Cole nodded. Too organized for simple raiders. They lay low behind a rock ledge, using a small scanner from Cole's pack to record visual data. The device picked up heat signals, mapping guard positions and identifying power sources. Cole adjusted the settings while Tala sketched a rough layout in the sand beside him. My people use old ways to track, she said, but machines also leave patterns. Look there. She pointed to a narrow trail behind the camp. Supply route, less guarded. Cole followed her finger. She was right. A transport path curved around the canyon wall, hidden from the main entrance. That could be our way in, he said. They stayed until nightfall, gathering as much information as possible. As darkness spread, lights from the camp grew brighter, casting long shadows across the desert. Finally, Cole packed up the scanner. We have enough, he said. Time to go back. They rode carefully toward Broken Wheel. Tala remained quiet during the ride, her mind clearly focused. Cole let the silence sit between them. Some thoughts needed space. When they reached the settlement, a small group waited inside the repair station. Mara stood near the hollow table, along with several ranchers, traders, and 2 tribal warriors who had arrived after hearing Tala's message. Their presence brought a calm strength to the room. Cole placed the scanner on the table, projecting the images they captured. The room filled with low murmurs as everyone saw the size of the camp. That's not a raider base, one trader said. That's a full operation. Tala stepped forward. They took supplies from many people. They will not stop unless someone stops them. The room grew quiet. A former security pilot named Jay spoke. We cannot fight them head-on, too many drones, Cole agreed. We don't attack their strength, we take away their control. He pointed at the map. Power generators here and here, disable those and half their defenses shut down. Myra crossed her arms. And how do we get close enough? Tala stepped beside Cole. Through the hidden supply route, it is less guarded, we move small and quiet. The group began discussing plans, some worried about risk, but others felt hope for the first time. They were no longer isolated victims, they were becoming an alliance. Training started the next morning. Ranchers who usually handled cattle practiced moving silently between obstacles. Traders learned to use signal jammers to confuse drones. Tribal warriors shared tracking methods and taught how to move without leaving clear footprints. Cole led coordination drills, showing how to signal without sound and how to fall back safely if things went wrong. Tala helped organize teams, assigning roles based on skill instead of background. Slowly, trust formed between people who had once been strangers. During a break, Tala sat near the edge of the settlement, watching the horizon. Cole joined her, offering a water bottle. You lead well, he said. She looked surprised. I only speak what must be done. That's leadership, Cole replied. Tala thought about that. In my tribe, leaders listen first. Cole nodded. You do that too. For a moment, neither spoke. The desert stretched wide and silent before them. Are you afraid? Tala asked suddenly. Cole considered the question. Yes, he admitted. Anyone who says they aren't is lying. Tala smiled faintly. Good, fear reminds us to be careful. That evening, the Alliance prepared to move. Small teams loaded gear onto bikes and horses. Dust stood ready, calm as always. Under the cover of darkness, they rode toward Black Canyon. The sky was clear, stars shining bright enough to guide their path. No one spoke much. The quiet felt heavy with purpose. When they reached the hidden supply route, they dismounted and continued on foot. The canyon walls rose high around them, blocking sound and light. Tala led the way, her movements smooth despite her injured arm. They reached the edge of the camp just before midnight. From this close, the size of the operation felt even larger. Machines hummed constantly, and drones hovered like metal insects. Cole signaled the first team forward. They crawled toward the nearest generator, placing small devices designed to overload circuits without causing explosions. The goal was control, not destruction. Tala moved with another team toward a communication tower. She climbed carefully, attaching a transmitter that would broadcast evidence once activated. Suddenly, a drone turned unexpectedly, its blue light sweeping across the ground. Everyone froze. The beam passed over Cole's shoulder but moved on. He exhaled slowly. After several tense minutes, the devices were in place. Cole gave the signal. The generators flickered, lights across the camp dimmed. Drones began moving erratically, their patterns broken. Chaos spread below. Guards ran between buildings, shouting into broken communication lines. Tala activated the transmitter. Screens across the camp lit up with recorded data showing illegal operations and stolen supplies. The message spread across nearby networks, reaching settlements far beyond the canyon. One of the mercenary commanders appeared near the tower, shouting orders. Tala climbed down quickly and rejoined her team. "Time to leave," Cole whispered into the comm device. The Alliance withdrew through the hidden route, moving quickly but carefully. Behind them, the camp struggled to regain control. As they reached safer ground, distant lights flashed across the horizon. News drones and independent observers were already heading toward the canyon after receiving the broadcast. They stopped at a ridge overlooking the camp once more. Tala watched silently as the place that had caused so much pain now faced exposure. "We did it," one rancher said quietly. "Not finished yet," Cole replied, "but it's a start." Tala turned toward him. "You said you were just a man with a horse." Cole shrugged. "Still am." She shook her head slightly. "No, you are someone who stands when others walk away." Cole looked uncomfortable but didn't argue. As dawn approached, light spread across the desert again. The Alliance returned toward Broken Wheel, tired but hopeful. Tala felt something new growing inside her, not just determination but belonging. She was no longer alone in this fight. And somewhere deep inside, Cole realized that the lonely rider he used to be was slowly changing. The real battle was coming, but now they had proof, allies, and a reason to keep riding forward together. Morning came slowly over the desert after the mission at Black Canyon. The sky turned pale gold as the two suns rose behind distant cliffs. Cole and Tala stood outside the repair station at Broken Wheel, watching the horizon while the rest of the Alliance rested after the long night. News of the broadcast had spread faster than anyone expected. Independent traders, settlers, and even neutral patrol ships had received the evidence Tala shared. Messages arrived through old communication towers, each one confirming that people were watching closely now. The corporation could no longer hide its actions. Inside the settlement, people moved with quiet excitement. For the first time in a long while, hope felt real. Tala leaned against the railing, her injured arm wrapped but healing well. She watched children run between buildings, laughing without fear. "They look lighter," she said softly. Cole followed her gaze. "People carry less weight when they believe tomorrow might be better." She nodded slowly. Mara approached, wiping grease from her hands. "You two started something big," she said. "Observers are already heading toward the canyon. Corporate ships pulled back during the night." "That means they are nervous," Tala said. "Or planning something new," Cole added carefully. Mara crossed her arms. "Probably both." The Alliance gathered later that day inside the repair station. A holographic map showed updated signals from Black Canyon. Without full power, the mercenary camp looked smaller, weaker, but it was still dangerous. Jace, the former security pilot, pointed at new data. Corporate Command requested negotiations through a neutral spaceport. They don't want open conflict now that the truth is public. A low murmur filled the room. Tala stepped forward. "Negotiation is not surrender. It is a chance to protect the land." Some settlers hesitated. Years of distrust made it hard to believe in peaceful outcomes, but the broadcast had changed the balance of power. Now the Alliance had proof and support. Cole spoke calmly. "We go to the meeting prepared, not angry, not afraid, just ready," the group agreed. 2 days later, Cole and Tala rode toward the spaceport called Silver Junction. It stood on a wide plateau, filled with landing pads and trade towers. Ships from many worlds arrived there, creating a place where deals were made and conflicts settled without weapons. Tala watched the ships with quiet wonder. "So many paths crossing one place," she said. Cole nodded. "Frontier life means people from different worlds meeting whether they want to or not." They dismounted near a large hall where negotiations would take place. Representatives from settlements arrived on foot, by bike, and by small shuttles. Tribal elders stood together wearing traditional clothing mixed with modern gear. Ranchers in worn coats leaned against walls, observing carefully. Corporate representatives arrived last, stepping out of a sleek transport surrounded by security drones. They looked confident but tense. Inside the hall, the air felt heavy with expectation. Tala stood beside her elders, while Cole stayed slightly behind, offering silent support. The discussion began carefully. Evidence from the broadcast played on large screens, showing stolen supplies, damaged land, and illegal orders given by corporate leaders. Murmurs spread through the crowd. One corporate official spoke. "We regret any misunderstanding. Our operations were meant to bring development and opportunity." Tala stepped forward, her voice calm but strong. "Opportunity does not come from taking without permission. You did not ask, you forced." The official hesitated, clearly unprepared for her confidence. An elder from Tala's tribe spoke next, describing sacred roots and traditions tied to the land. Ranchers shared stories of lost water sources caused by reckless mining. One by one, voices joined together. Cole watched quietly, realizing this was not a fight of weapons but of truth. After hours of discussion, a compromise began forming. The corporation agreed to withdraw from protected areas, compensate those harmed, and operate only under strict supervision from independent councils. It was not perfect. Some people still doubted their promises, but it was a step forward. When the agreement was signed, a wave of relief moved through the hall. Tala's shoulders relaxed for the first time since Cole had met her. Outside, she stood near the edge of the plateau, looking over the desert far below. Cole joined her. "It is not full victory," she said. "No," he agreed, "but it's a start." Tala turned toward him. "You helped give my people a voice." "You already had a voice," Cole replied. "I just rode alongside," she smiled faintly. "That is still help." They stayed at Silver Junction for another day while final arrangements were made. News networks broadcast the agreement across frontier space. Settlements celebrated quietly, knowing the future still held challenges but feeling stronger together. When it was time to leave, Tala walked toward Dust and ran her hand along its neck. The horse leaned into her touch gently. "My people will want to thank you," she said to Cole. "You should come." Cole hesitated. He had lived alone for so long that joining a community felt unfamiliar, but something inside him had changed during the journey. "All right," he said finally. "I'll ride with you." They left the spaceport as the suns began to set again, casting long shadows across the land. The desert no longer felt empty. It felt alive with stories, with people working together. During the ride, Tala spoke about her tribe's traditions, the songs they sang at night, and the stories elders told about riders who appeared when the land needed balance. Cole listened, sometimes asking questions, sometimes just enjoying the sound of her voice. At one point she laughed softly. "You still do not believe in destiny, do you?" Cole smiled. "I believe in choices, and your choice was to stop and help me." "Yeah," he said quietly. "Best choice I made in a long time." They reached a hill overlooking her homeland just as night fell. Fires glowed in the distance, and figures moved between tents and buildings. Tala's expression softened with emotion. "My home," she said. Cole felt a warmth in his chest he had not expected. As they rode closer, people gathered to welcome Tala back. Voices rose in greeting, filled with relief and pride. Some looked at Cole with curiosity, others with gratitude. An elder stepped forward and placed a hand on Tala's shoulder, then turned to Cole. "You rode with courage," the elder said. "You are welcome among us." Cole nodded respectfully, unsure what to say. That night they sat around a fire under a sky full of stars. Stories were shared, laughter returned, and music filled the air. Tala watched Cole as he slowly relaxed among her people. For the first time in years, he did not feel like an outsider passing through. Later, when the fire burned low, Tala sat beside him quietly. "You do not have to keep riding alone," she said. Cole looked at the flames, thinking about the long roads behind him and the new path ahead. "Maybe," he said slowly. "I was never meant to stay alone forever." Tala smiled, and together they looked toward the horizon where tomorrow waited, not as a lonely challenge, but as a shared journey. And as the desert wind moved gently around them, the cowboy who once rode without purpose found something stronger than survival. He found a reason to stay.